I'm here with Greg Kwedar talking about the movie Sing Sing. So I saw that you found out about rehabilitation through the arts in Esquire magazine. You and your writing partner discovered it. So when you read that article, what made you say, like, this is the film, I have to do this now?
Well, when I first just discovered RTA, Rehabilitation Through the Arts, like I felt the cinematic potential inherent within putting on a show inside of this very kind of intense environment, you know, and it had the I was seeing the architecture of like casting to opening night, you know, as the kind of, you know, plot vehicle for a movie like that. But then when I came across the Esquire piece, and it was about a very particular production of a time-traveling musical comedy called Breaking the Mummy's Code, I was like, it was the tone, you know, of that piece. It was the playfulness of the work, the inherent joy that you felt in the process, kind of leaping off the page and the photography from all these men. It was so contagious, you know, and just something that I just had a strong desire to feel myself, you know, and that's really what began like this journey over 8 years ago was coming across that in the middle of the night.
And so you just talked about that with the setting. So what was that like? So you worked in a lot of like decommissioned prison cells in different settings. What kind of challenges did that present, or scheduling, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, we made 4 locations into our one Sing Sing.
Okay.
And so the exteriors of Sing Sing is the real place. We shot a day there, and it's, you know, as you know, it's a very iconic prison. I mean, it's almost synonymous with prison. The big house came from Sing Sing. Going up the river is going up the Hudson. You know, it's the MTA North goes through, like, bisects that prison several times an hour. You know, and you can't recreate that. You have to just show it. And so we shot a day there, but then the majority of all sort of anything inside the walls in a more conventional prison setting was a place called Downstate near Fishkill. And this was a max security prison that was decommissioned about a month before we went in there.
Okay.
And even decommissioned, like, it's a place that will take a toll on you, you know, all the razor wire everywhere. It feels like it's almost strangling you. The lack of heating and air, which is most prisons in America, and really the lack of ventilation is kind of stifling and just kind of weighs on you. It's a labyrinth, you know, and it's very easy to get lost. Like, you go down one set of stairs, you go up another to go down another, and then you have no idea where you are. And then also just kind of like the ghosts in the walls, you know. It all like kind of becomes this weight that you carry. And that's just, for us outsiders coming in as storytellers, there was an added dimension of struggle for all of our alumni cast who were formerly incarcerated and had actually been through that facility at one point in their life. But for them, I mean, I think the courage they found was to recognize that the purpose of what they were doing was greater than discomfort. And then once they embraced that, via doing it together, found a lot of power in being back in this place, but as free men who could travel and go wherever they wanted. And these greens that they were wearing were now a costume and not a mandated uniform, you know, that they could use to express a character. Those transitions were unfolding kind of in front of our eyes and really became really liberating component for them of the experience.
Nice. And now to that point, because I'm fascinated and curious to know about the casting process. You said this was an 8-year process, and, you know, I'm wondering when Coleman became involved and how you came to work. So, you know, what was that casting process like? How you went with, like, veteran actors and the inmates, how you went about that? I'm just curious to know.
You know, it's really, I think the beauty of the film is really in the alchemy of what happens when you have established actors like Coleman and Paul Racy, Sean San Jose, who's a really legendary stage actor, come into the room with our formerly incarcerated alumni cast who also have a tremendous amount of stage experience, but within this very specific environment that the movie is actually based in. both had so much to learn from each other and to teach the other. And that was really the posture the whole time. And, Coleman got involved about 6 years into the development process. We had been having active conversations, developing the story with the real Brent, with many of the alumni, particularly the real Divine I and Divine G. And late in the process, we finally kind of had a breakthrough to center the story on the real life friendship between Divine I and Divine G. And when that happened, this sort of shape of a story kind of flowed out onto my notebook in about 10 minutes. And at the bottom of the page, I wrote Coleman Domingo as Divine G. It was really an instinct, I think. Mm-hmm. I couldn't quantify it. Yeah. I just knew that he was the one to play this part.
Right.
And we reached out, and a few months later, we were on a Zoom with him and my creative partner Clint and I, and at the end of the call, he was in. And I think he really just felt the invitation to bring the fullness of his self as an artist, an actor, storyteller, producer. He could really shape his character and also help shape the story in a way that he hadn't had much opportunity to before in his career, and really have a hand and put his fingerprints kind of all over it.
Yeah. Now.
Well, what's crazy is he actually shot Sing Sing in this block of 19 days. He came directly from wrapping The Color Purple. Uh-huh. And the day he wrapped Sing Sing, he shot pickups for Rustin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty wild. Yes, I think he's one of our greatest all-time actors. Yeah. And that he's getting kind of the love that he's most certainly due right now is a joy.
So now I like what you said. You were talking when you were workshopping the story with your writing partner and Divine G and Divine I, and it was just pouring onto your notebook. I'm curious to know, when you got to the final product, when you were really filming this, how much of this was actually scripted or how much was changing on the fly? Because some of your cast had experience and they're like, maybe this wouldn't fly. I'm wondering what the balance was. Or
yeah, well, we definitely believe that a script is a living document. And we don't hold on to it too tightly, because we want to allow for moments of serendipity, moments of whimsy to breathe into the process. But I would say the best way to describe it is the script really had 3 pillars. So the story of the friendship between Divine I and Divine G, which is really the spine of the movie, is very scripted. And then the production of Breaking the Mummy's Code has scripted elements throughout that are pertinent to the dramatic arc of the story, but we loosened that grip and allowed for the chaos of the production to kind of come into the space and allow for people to discover things in the moment and try stuff on, and it was a little bit more situational writing. And then we had truly unscripted moments as well. So there's the scene Perfect Place in our movie where the theater teacher Brent asks these men to imagine their most perfect place, was just a prompt, and then everyone in that circle answered purely from their own lives and their own kind of being.
Just in closing, as this film, because now this film's getting ready to kind of enter into more the wider release, what are you hoping that the audience is going to take from this when they walk out after spending an hour and 45 minutes with this crew? What are they going to take from it? What do you hope they take from it?
I think there's a lot of layers to it, and I think that's partly why it's resonating the way it is. On the surface, I just hope that people recognize the human potential behind the walls and what happens when you really look someone in the eyes and hear their story, and see the fullness of their humanity. They can't be a number anymore. And once you recognize someone's humanity, I think anything's possible. I also hope it's that people celebrate the friends in their lives, and we're not meant to go through this alone, and I think it's really a love letter to friendship. And I also hope that kind of what you were just saying about arts programs, that we recognize that wherever anyone has access to art, they thrive, and this movie is proof in that. And I also hope that we get this reminder that no matter where we find ourselves, no matter how hard it gets, we can still find each other. We can still choose joy. We don't have to settle for misery. And these men are an example of that.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I wish you so much continued success with the
Thank
film.
you.
Thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
It's a pleasure.
And have a good one.
Great. That was a great conversation. Thank you.